All right, we're going to review for your 6-week test, and the first station was talking about functions, and we put a little hint here that it's a function when the x value doesn't repeat, or on the graph it must pass the vertical line test. So number 1, choose the set of order pairs where y represents a function of x. So we're looking for when the x value doesn't repeat. So on letter A, these are my x values, but here the x values repeat, so that's not your answer. Letter B, I have 1, 2, -2, and 3, so those are all different. Just to verify though, 7, -6, 4, -6, those repeat, so that's not it. And then the last one, 3, 4, 3, and 6, so my 3's repeat, so that's out. Number 2, which graph does not represent y as a function of x? So that means which one is not a function? And so if I draw a vertical line, it touches 1 point, 1 point, 1 point. Here I also touch 1 point. But when I get here, I'm now touching 3 points, which means this one is not a function. All right, station 2. Station 2 is function notation. Evaluate f of -4 if f of x equals 5x squared minus 6. And so this really means, what's the answer when x is -4? And for that, we're going to use our calculator. So we're going to go, actually we're just going to go to a graph page, and we're going to type in 5x squared is right here next to number 4, minus 6. And once I graph it, I can go to my table, Control T, and I can find my x. I'm looking for where x is -4, and so we're going to scroll up to find -4, and the answer is 74. So the answer here, when what's f of -4? 74. And we're going to do the same thing for number 2. What is the value of f of 7? For the function, f of x equals 6 minus 8x. So again, these are minus signs, not negatives. So I'm going to go to my calculator. I'm going to get a new graph page by doing Control Doc, number 2. And we're going to type in 6 minus 8x. And once I graph it, I'm going to press Control T. And I'm going to find 7. Where is x? 7. Here it is, and so my answer is -50. So f of 7 equals -50. Okay? All right, station 3. Station 3 is talking about rate of change, and rate of change just means slope. So I'm finding the slope of these graphs. And remember, we talked about doing this a couple ways. One, by counting rise or fall, and then the run, or we can plot 2 points. No matter what you do, you need 2 points. So here's a good point, and here's a good point. And if I were to label those points, this one up here, which is actually the y-intercept, is 0, 200. And this point down here, which is actually my x-intercept, is 20, 0. Okay? So I'm going to go to my calculator. I'm going to add a list and spreadsheet. I'm going to put x and y at the top. And I'm going to put my numbers in. So 0, 20, 200, 0. And remember, the steps are menu, 4, 1, 3, change x to x and y to y, and press OK. My slope is right here. It is -10. So here my rate of change is -10, and remember, it's y per x, so gallons per hour. -10, so minus 10 gallons per hour. All right, the next one, the rate of change. Again, this one's talking about cookies left at a presentation. So I just need 2 points. And it doesn't matter what 2 points you pick. but they have to be ones that are on that line. So here is 1, 0, 180, which is actually your y-intercept. I really like picking the x and y-intercepts because they're easy points to see. And then this is 6, 0. You could have picked any other points though. This one here is 2, 120. That could have been a point you used. Or 4 and 60. Any of those points could have been used. Okay. And then again, we're just going to go to our list and spreadsheet. Since I only have 2 points here, I'm actually going to change it. So 0 and 6. And then I had 180 and 0, and it changed my slope for me. My slope is now negative 30 for these points. My y-intercept, the b, is 180. So here, the rate of change is negative 30, and then it's cookies per presentation. Okay? All right, station 4, all about slope. What is the slope and what is the equation for this one here? So again, you need 2 points. So here's a point. That is, if I make a little table here, negative 3, 2. And then here's a point. That is 3, 0. Okay, so negative 3, 2, and 3, 0. And now I'm going to go change these again. So I have negative 3, and then positive 3, and 2, and 0. All right, so I changed my information here. And so my slope is negative 0.3 repeating, and my y-intercept is 1. So if I were to put my equation, it would be y equals negative 0.3 repeating x plus 1, but I don't like putting decimals for my slope. So remember, you highlight it, you press Control and C to copy it. You go to a new calculator page, you press Control V to paste it, and then menu, 2 for number and 2 for fraction, and we get negative 1/3. So that's our slope. And then this right here is your y-intercept, so that's how you write your equation. So my slope is negative 1/3. My equation is negative 1/3 x plus 1, 1 being your y-intercept. Okay? All right, the next one, I have a table and I need to know which of these equations matches. And again, I'm just going to go here. I'm going to change these numbers. I'm going to type in negative 4, 1, and 4. And it's going to tell me there's an error because I've already tried to figure out the equation. Negative 27, 3, and 21. And so here it tells me my slope is 6 and my y-intercept is negative 3. So my slope being 6, that's where the x goes. So my equation is y equals 6x minus 3, which matches that one. All right, and the last one, slope between 2 points. When you find those 2 points, you need to write them out. 10, 2, 8, 6. And the reason that you need to write them out is that way you put them in the calculator correctly. At this point, I am going to just start all the way over, new document, and list and spreadsheet. So I'm going to put my x and my y, and then I'm going to put my points. So I had 10 and 8 and 2 and 6. And remember, it's menu 4, 1, 3. Change x to x and y to y, and say OK. My slope here is negative 2. My y-intercept is 22. The question, though, just asks for the slope. So my slope is negative 2. All right, station 5 is just looking at a graph and saying what are those x and y-intercepts. And we've actually already seen both of these graphs. So the x-intercept is right here. It's at 20, but the order pair is 20, 0. The y-intercept is up here on the y-axis, and it is 0, 200. And then this one here, the x-intercept crosses right here at 3. That order pair, though, is 3, 0. And then the y-intercept is 1, but the order pair is 0, 1. So when you have an x-intercept, you have an x value. When you have a y-intercept, you have a y value, and the other number is 0. Okay, station 6 was using your calculator to find the x and y intercepts. And again, it gave you a hint down here as to what to do. So we're going to go to our graph page, which is number 2. And we're going to delete the equal sign and pick a relation. And we're going to type in that equation. 3x plus 4y equals 12. And some of you can just look at this graph and say, oh, I know what the x-intercept is and I know what the y-intercept is, and that's fine. But if you press menu, 5 for trace and 1 for graph trace, then you can scroll left and right and it will tell you your y-intercept is 0, 3. So go ahead and write that down for the y-intercept. And then it will tell you that your x-intercept, or your 0, is 4, 0. So remember, an x-intercept is also called a 0, and they told us on the calculator it was 4, 0, right? It's telling you that order pair right here. Okay, and then number 2, same thing. I'm going to go to a new graph page, Control Doc, get a new graph page. Again, you're deleting the equal sign, picking a relation, and it says 5y equals 10x plus 30. And it's menu, 5 for trace, 1 for trace all. If I scroll right and go left, it tells me my y-intercept is 0, 6. And then if I keep going, it tells me the 0, which is your x-intercept, is negative 3, 0. Okay. All right, the last station was everybody had to do that. So quickly, if you didn't get that down, okay, you can pause it. I'm looking at the wrong thing. There we go. That was station 6. Let's look at station 7 though. Everybody had to do station 7. And so what's happening here is we're talking about domain and range. And so my domain and range, we need to box it in for domain and range. So my domain goes from 0 to 20. Remember, domain is your x. And there are no open circles, so everything is equal to. Range is your y. My y goes from 0 all the way up to 200. Okay, so it's about boxing it in. This one here, again, box it in. Okay, domain is x, and my x's go from negative 3 over to positive 3. Again, they're all closed circles, so that's the equal to. If it was an open circle, you would just use that symbol. Okay, so open, less than. My range is from bottom to top. I go down here at negative 4 all the way up to positive 5. That's my y value. Okay, and then this last one here, it should have had arrows on it. And so my domain, which goes from left to right, goes left forever and right forever, so the domain is all real numbers. But my range starts up here at positive 5 and gets smaller. So my y's are less than or equal to 5. If you were to write that in words, it would say all real numbers, oops, less than or equal to 5. Okay? And then the last one, the total cost Fred spent on donuts and a cup of coffee can be found using the function C equals 1.25D plus 2.5. where D is the number of donuts bought. And so since D is the number of donuts, that's what our domain would represent, number of donuts. Fred bought at least 2 donuts, but not more than 5 donuts. Choose the correct domain. So my domain, I cannot buy part of a donut, so my domain is going to be 2, 3, 4, and 5 because it says that he bought at least 2 but not more than 5.